Lunchtime Live with Saskia V and Damien.
We've got our financial guy, Lourens Oberholzer from Retire Rich and Happy in studio. And we're going to be chatting about scams, different schemes.
Yes.
We all know of at least one, but what are the main sort of scams that people need to look out for?
The scallums that want to get hold of your hard-earned cash, and we sometimes are so gullible that we fall for these things. I actually fell for one. Luckily, I didn't lose any money, but I was busy and I got one of these banking email things, and I just looked at it and I saw and I said, not time to look at it now. And I replied, and I thought, oh goodness, what have I done? So luckily it didn't turn out something. But it's so easy to fall for these. So we have the banking phishing scams. We have the Nigerian cell phone scams and the uncle from somewhere that left you £5 million pounds, and all of those scams that we all know, and most of us don't fall for them. The one thing with those is just the moment they ask you for anything, any money to be paid to get other money, please don't do it. Yeah, so that's the one. The two that I want to talk about, and then we'll touch on the third one, but the two main ones I want to talk about today is firstly Ponzi schemes, which a lot of people don't really know what the difference is between a Ponzi scheme and a pyramid scheme and how it actually works, and then pyramid schemes, and not to confuse pyramid schemes with legitimate businesses. And we'll talk about what is a network marketing business and what is a pyramid scheme, so that people can be careful of that as well. So let's start with Ponzi schemes. Now, Ponzi schemes is typically an investment scheme. So it is not a business opportunity that they give you. It's an investment opportunity. And they tend to prey on the elderly that can't get out with retirement, the problem with retirement. So people need to get a little bit more return on the investment. So what Ponzi schemes then do is, and it's not necessarily a pyramid scheme. It's not necessarily in the pyramid structure that's easy to spot. So what people then do is they come and they offer you abnormally high interest. So typically they'll come to a client and say, we can guarantee you a 3% per month return on your investment. Now, the moment it's such an abnormally high investment return, the warning lights must go off immediately.
So that's number one to look out for. Okay.
So anything like 3% per month is ridiculously high returns. And nobody can guarantee that for you unless there's something going on the background. So that must be a warning light immediately. So what then typically happens is you invest your money with them. Let's say it's 100,000 Rand. They take 20 or 30,000 Rand, put it in their back pocket, and the other 80,000 Rand they use to pay your interest back to you. So then they go for the next couple of months and they pay you your 2,000 Rand a month or whatever. And then they use that and they use your success, because after 3 months you go, hey, this is working. And then they get you to get other people, or they use you as an example to get other people to invest as well. Because now it's working after 3 months. You're getting this high interest. Meanwhile, it's your own money that they're just giving back to you. So then what happens is they get more people involved, and every time they take a portion, put it in their back pocket, use the rest to fund the interest payments. And as it grows, more money comes in, more people need to get interest. And if you do the maths, at some point it reaches critical mass.
It won't work,
and the income that needs to be paid out is more than the capital available, and then the whole thing collapses. But at that point, the guy running the Ponzi scheme has put away millions, and everybody else loses their money because the whole scheme collapses. Okay, so that's a Ponzi scheme. So it's a very simplistic explanation, but it's something that people need to look at. So the biggest thing about a Ponzi scheme is two things. The first thing is if they give you a massive return on your investment, guaranteed with either interest or return, warning lights must go off. The second thing, if they then say they will incentivize you to get other people to invest, like they'll give you a finder's fee of 10%.
Or then it's another warning. Okay.
Be very careful once that happens, because they use you to rope other people into that investment as well.
And wouldn't you also look out if it's a really reputable investment company?
Obviously, you need to do your homework. Is it a reputable company? How long have they been around? Look at the FSB, go and check, or the Financial Services Center, administrator. I can't remember the new
You
name.
always have to have like a financial service
Yes.
provider, and you have to then say you
They
are
have to have
registered.
a license,
Retired, Rich and
registered-
Happy is a registered
financial
service provider. Okay,
Yes.
so you need to look out for stuff like
Yes.
that.
So those things almost goes without saying. Do your research. Don't just fork money over because your uncle says the last 6 months he got 5,000 Rand a month from his 100,000 Rand investment. The fact that he's getting it for 6 months doesn't mean the investment is actually working. It just means that they are using him to get to your money. Okay,
Sure.
so be very careful of those. Okay, the next one is what we call a pyramid scheme. So that's the typical thing where people come, they get approached with a business opportunity, and then people say, oh, but it's a pyramid. Now, the first thing I have to tell people is that all network marketing companies aren't pyramid schemes. They are legitimate companies, because a pyramid is the structure in which any company is built. If you think about it, you've got the CEO, you've got the directors, you've got the general managers, you've got the managers, the mid-level managers, and so it goes, and it's a pyramid. The government is a pyramid. Everything, that is the structure things are built in. So there's nothing wrong with the structure. The problem when a business opportunity becomes a pyramid scheme is, firstly, if they have no legitimate product that you can get somewhere else at a market-related price. So they're selling a product at a market-related price.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. So you look at the product they're selling and you say, is this actually a legitimate product? Okay. And is it sold at a market-related price, not 4 times more
So do
than
your
what I would be
research a
able to
little
buy
bit,
it
yeah.
somewhere else? The second thing you need to look at is, am I being paid more money to recruit new people than I am actually selling product or getting products into the market? If you're getting paid more money to recruit others instead of actually marketing the product, warning bells needs to rise, because then it's basically a recruitment scam which just pays money from new people being recruited, and if those people stop being recruited, the whole thing collapses again. Okay, so there must be a legitimate product.
Okay.
The third thing is, most of these companies have a joining fee. Now, if you see that there's a joining fee, but most of that fee is being used to pay the person that recruited you and not to give you tools and training to actually do the business, you need to also have a warning light go up and say, ooh, we need to be careful of this. Okay. So again, do your research. It's not always because a company's been around for 5 or 10 years, they are not a pyramid scheme. It is just that they haven't been caught out because they become much, much cleverer
Smarter,
in hiding
yeah.
this. So be careful, and those are just 2 or 3
So
pointers.
it basically is, in any of these situations, if you are really being pushed to find other people to join, that's generally a warning
Yes.
light.
If you're getting paid more for doing that than actually marketing the product, you have to look at it very carefully.
Lunchtime Live with Saskia V and Damien.
We are chatting about schemes, pyramid schemes, scams. So I've got a friend that works at a bank.
Yeah.
And
Pyramid
a
scheme.
private,
No,
private banker, and he had one of his clients coming from his PA, where he always gets this email from, always saying, please transfer a large amount of money. I'm overseas, So he almost did it, and then he's like, no, wait, hold on. And
Just
I
check.
think he actually did do it, and then quickly checked the money hadn't been released yet, because that would then be the bank's fault in that
Exactly.
situation. But I mean, that's a proper. So they got hacked so badly.
Yeah.
So this is amazing. So you can really, and apparently Gmail accounts, they can hack much easier.
Yes.
So I mean, to you it looks
And
like a
it's so
legitimate email, but that's why just phone someone, I suppose, and just make 100%
And trust your
sure.
gut. If your gut tells you, oh, there's a problem, trust your gut. We
That's a
have
good-
that
yeah.
feeling, and then we ignore it, and then we
Yeah, because you want to, like, you know.
I want to be a billionaire.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, question here saying, Lourens, what is your take on Bitcoin?
Okay, so that's a whole discussion, and I might do an interview on that. My personal opinion, I will never ever invest in Bitcoin because I have a big problem. The technology that runs it is amazing. The technology behind all these cryptocurrencies. The problem I have is there's no real value in any of them unless more money comes into the system. So only money coming into the system creates the value. So in a company, you buy shares, but the share value is not just the money, the shares being bought, it's the actual value of the company and what the company does. This is just money. So if money doesn't continually flow in, the value can't increase the whole time. So at some point, money's coming in is going to become less than money going out, which means it's going to collapse. So that's my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but that's my personal opinion.
Okay, then quite a few people asking about Amway.
Yes.
Is Amway a pyramid scheme?
A lot of people have heard of being involved or whatever. No, Amway is not a pyramid scheme. Saying that, a lot of people get very upset because the way they do business is very invasive and it becomes in your face, and which I don't agree with. But there's nothing wrong with the business model.
Okay.
There's a couple of things that I'm don't agree with, but that doesn't make them illegal. Okay, so that's the short answer.
Okay, so Amway. Okay, then Nick says, just wanted to know what happens if Ponzi and pyramid schemes get caught out.
Yes.
Or do they get caught out?
Sometimes they do. There was one a couple of years ago in Vereniging Vol Triangle or something, with a lady that started a Ponzi scheme with all the pensioners. Unfortunately, and that's the sad truth, most of these get caught out too late, which means that
the money's gone.
So they might get some of the money back, where the guy took the money, invested it, and they can get hold of that. And they then give people like 20 cents in the rand or something if they're lucky. But unfortunately, a lot of the times when people get figured out, they don't get anything back. And the reason is most people involved in it has put money in. So they don't want to accept that there's an issue. They want to, because they're getting the money, they want to sort of keep it going because otherwise they lose out. So a lot of times the people involved defends it. There was one, I can't remember the name now, where people were donating money, and then you on the internet
to try and save the scheme because you don't want.
Exactly.
Okay,
and
that's
on the
interesting.
internet, it was a Russian guy that started it.
Jeez, crazy.
Lunchtime Live with Saskia V and Damien.